welcome to Tuesday's programme.
Coming up tonight between now and 6:30, as a government report finds more than half of A&Es aren't up to standard, we ask how many more cuts the departments in Weston and Cheltenham can withstand.
Good evening. Hospital inspectors say they are increasingly concerned about the pressure on accident and emergency departments as new figures show more than half across the country require improvement.
It comes as campaigners in Weston-super-Mare failed with a final attempt to get their accident and emergency unit reopened overnight. And there are worries in Gloucestershire that proposals to close Cheltenham Hospital's A&E unit to ambulance emergencies could result in lives being lost.
Well, in a moment, we'll cross to Sangeeta Lal in Weston and David Wood in Westminster for more on tonight's top story. But first, Ken Goodwin has been speaking to people in Gloucestershire about the situation there.
Victor Svekolkin lives in Winchcombe. His nearest big hospital is Cheltenham. But if its A&E closes to ambulance admissions, he'll have to go to Gloucester if there's a medical emergency. He's already been in that situation.
So the ambulance stopped at Prestbury. They then phoned Cheltenham General and said, "Can you take this man? He's very unwell and we'd like to bring him to Cheltenham." They said, "No, you need to go to Gloucester." So the ambulance continued to Gloucester.
How much longer did that journey take, do you think?
Probably another half an hour, including the phone call.
In nearby Bishops Cleeve, Jeff Goring remembers being rushed to Cheltenham General Hospital by ambulance after suffering from internal bleeding. He's clear he wouldn't want to risk the extra time it would take to get to Gloucester.
Clearly I was in a not a good way, and they said we're going to have to put the blues and twos on and what have you. They said mainly because of the traffic, but getting to Cheltenham from here is 7 minutes. I took my wife to Gloucester Hospital last Friday for a regular checkup, and you can't do anything less than 25 minutes. Now, yes, I've not got the blues and the lights and whatever it is, but I think the difference is it could be life or death in certain circumstances.
And it's something that this councillor says people who live some distance away from Gloucester are concerned about.
What we're picking up is concern about the time it will take residents to get to Gloucestershire Royal. It's about 3.5 miles to Cheltenham General, and you can get there in about 10 minutes. It's actually 10 miles to Gloucestershire Royal. That's, on a good day, 30 minutes, and residents are really concerned. This could be the difference between life and death in an emergency situation.
People we spoke to in Winchcombe say they're worried too.
It's ridiculous. It takes so long to get to Gloucester from here, and the villages, it's awful.
I'd be very disappointed. I don't think it's right.
It's the distance as well.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too far to Gloucester. It is too far to Gloucester.
You can see the difference in distance from both Bishops Cleeve and Winchcombe to hospitals in Cheltenham and Gloucester. Even with blue lights and sirens, it would still mean the extra distance in an ambulance to Gloucester could result in valuable minutes being lost. The proposals, if agreed, would not close Cheltenham's A&E department, but it wouldn't be open to ambulances, which would have to go to Gloucestershire Royal Hospital, where what the Hospital Trust calls a centre of excellence would be established for blue light emergency treatment, giving, they say, a better outcome for patients and attracting the best doctors. That's not something everyone agrees with.
You can have a centre of expertise wherever you like, but that extra 15 minutes is the difference between life and death, and that extra 15 minutes could be the complete difference, so that just doesn't make sense.
Ken Goodwin, ITV News, Cheltenham.
Well, in its most recent inspection, the Accident and Emergency Department at Cheltenham General was rated good. We've had the following response from NHS Gloucestershire. They say, "We want to make it clear that no plans have been drawn up to close A&E in Cheltenham. We see both Cheltenham General and Gloucestershire Royal continuing to provide a range of same-day, walk-in urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The majority of patients would continue to access services as they do now."
Of course, one of the problems in Weston was that there weren't enough doctors really to staff all of the shifts, and many say that the new plans are safer than if they were to try and keep the A&E open 24 hours a day. It's a very different situation in Cheltenham. 2 weeks ago, I asked Prime Minister Boris Johnson about it. He said he was looking into it. We've not heard back from him yet, but the local MP told me a little earlier that he believes the A&E must stay open.
It's absolutely essential that we keep an A&E in Cheltenham, and that's not just for the sake of my constituents, although I make no apologies for standing up for them. But there's a whole load of people, whether it's in Morton and Marsh, Brought-on-the-Water, Stow-on-the-Wold, who look to Cheltenham's A&E. And it's not just the fact that it's too far to get to Gloucester. It's that there's no way that Gloucester A&E has the capacity to cope with the entire county's demand, and particularly if more homes are going to be built in Gloucestershire.